Hey everybody, this is your GM, your back row dominance, your GM who currently is not on the team right now, but don't you worry about it, Kale. Here to bring you episode 16 of the Stack and Shed series. Now, in this series, we're covering all 32 teams, so everybody gets a chance to be talked about, alright? Now, in this series, we're covering a few different topics, and they include what went wrong, what do they need, stack or shed, their draft picks, one move I would do in their cap space, alright? Now, in this episode, we're talking about the Buccaneers, so load up those cannons, let's get this thing going. All right, let's get into it. So, what went wrong in the Buccaneers season? And I would venture to say it was a regressing offense and defense. With the controversial departure of Liam Cohen, I had more questions than answers on the identity of the offense, how well it would function, and which positions would show the first signs of regression. And as the season progressed, I started to sense there was a disconnect between the coaching staff and the players. Now, I believe this is one of the many factors that led to the coaching shakeup this offseason and the departure of Mike Evans. Looking at the offensive production from 2024 to 2025, it shows a major decline in both the run game and the pass game. So in 2024, the Bucs had the third best offense in the league and they averaged 29.5 points per game, 399.6 yards per game, 6.2 yards per play, and 57 touchdowns. They also averaged 250.4 passing yards per game, 7 passing yards per play, 149.2 rushing yards per game, and 5.3 rushing yards per play. However, in 2025, the Bucs were 21st in offense and they averaged 22.4 points per game, 320.4 yards per game, 5.1 yards per play, and 39 touchdowns. They also averaged 205.9 passing yards per game, 5.9 passing yards per play, 114.5 rushing yards per game, and 4.1 rushing yards per play. In the last few years, the Bucs defense has shown signs of regression that can no longer be ignored. From the pass rush being hot and cold all season long to the secondary becoming leaky at times, this defense has once again failed to meet expectations. So in 2025, they were 19th in defense and they allowed 24.2 points per game, 337.2 yards per game, 5.7 yards per play, and 46 touchdowns. Now, they also allowed 238.2 passing yards per game, 6.7 passing yards per play, 99.1 rushing yards per game, and 4.3 rushing yards per play. Now, if you compare that to the 2024 season, this is what we have. They were 18th in defense and they allowed 22.6 points per game, 341.8 yards per game, 5.5 yards per play, and 40 touchdowns. They also allowed 243.9 passing yards per game, 6.1 passing yards per play, 97.8 rushing yards per game, and 4.3 rushing yards per play. Although the defensive coaching staff underwent some changes, I don't believe it was enough to resolve their problems. I believe Todd Bowles should have brought in a defensive coordinator to slightly tweak his scheme and challenge his play calling. Now, with that being said, what do the Bucs need? And that is more offensive and defensive production. With the hiring of Zach Robinson, I believe he will make the offense more consistent, versatile, and explosive than what it's been in the last few years. Now, increasing the defensive production is a little tricky due in part to the lack of playmakers and schematic changes. Now, I'm not saying this defense is barren of talent, but in order to compete with the NFC powerhouses such as the Bears, the Vikings, the Packers, the 49ers, the Rams, the Seahawks, even the Eagles, you need personnel that can not only make splash plays, but can force offenses to be one-dimensional. Now, with that being said, the question we all need to ask ourselves is stack or shed. And I would venture to say stack. And the reason why I say that is because the Bucs are the best or the second best team in their division and a dark horse for the playoffs. There's no need to scrap what you've already built. Instead, you need to tweak what you currently have and position this team for success. Now, I don't think they're a Super Bowl team right now, but I think that can change depending on their draft class and how they address their additional needs. Looking at their draft picks, they have their first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. Now, they have the 15th pick in the first round, which I think is the tail end of the sweet spot for premium prospects. But with Levante David retiring, how high should the Bucs find his replacement? Do you draft C.J. Allen in the first round? Do you draft Jacob Rodriguez in the second round? Or do you go after someone in the later part of the draft? Because if I'm Jason Light, which I will be in just a moment, you have one of three options. You can be aggressive knowing that you don't have to give up a lot to make that move. You can be complacent and just see how the board falls. Or you can be reserved and say, you know what, let's trade down so that we can be players on that second and third day of the draft. Because if you ask any of the major draft experts, From Dane Brugler to Mel Kiper to Phil Yates to Todd McShay to Daniel Jeremiah, they're all probably going to say the same thing, and that is they have more players with second and third round grades than first round grades. Even if you trade down just 2 spots, you're still in a good place. Because let's be honest here, outside of Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain, and Caleb Downs, who do you believe is a premium player that everybody's going to be clamoring after? Jordan Tyson, Carnell Tate, Akeem Mesidor, Mansour Delane, Colton Hood, Gerard McCoy? Because what we're seeing right now is that multiple teams are preparing for the 27 draft class, as many speculate that that class is going to be better than this draft class. Now, the one move that I would do if I was the GM for the Bucs is draft a pass rusher. Now, we all know they're out of the sweepstakes for Ruben Bain and Arvell Reese. But would you be open in taking David Bailey, TJ Parker, Mason Thomas, Akeem Mesidor, or Cassius Howell? Because the Bucs have been lacking a dominant pass rusher since they won the Super Bowl. According to PFF, Yaya Diaby led the edge rusher room with 9 sacks, followed by Mohamed Kamara and Hassan Reddick with 3 sacks. Regardless of how you feel about some of these edge rushers, you have to address pass rusher within the first 2 rounds. Hassan Reddick has been a bust, and you need somebody to pair with Yaya Diaby. Looking at their cap situation, they have $15 million, which I think is more than enough to sign all of their draft picks. But if I'm the Bucs, I want to move some money around just so I can be players in the second and third wave of free agency. Because there's still a lot of highly productive veteran free agents that are available that you wouldn't have to break the bank for. You have veteran free agents such as Joey Bosa, whose market value is only $13.7 million. You have people like L'Jarius Sneed that are still available. You have Leonard Floyd that's still available with a market value of only $8.9 million. David Onyemata is still available and his market value is only $8.5 million. You have a lot of people that you can bring in that can come in and be the week 1 starter and can add that necessary juice that you need for the defense or the offense if you want to take that route as well. But I guess we just have to wait and see. But I'm going to end this episode here. If you guys like what you were listening, please make sure you guys leave a 5-star review on anywhere and everywhere that you can listen to podcasts, okay? We are available on Apple, Spotify, and a few other places. Now, if you want to access those other places, go on Google, type in rss.com Football Junkies Podcast. It should be the first link. When you click on that link, it'll take you to our rss.com page where you can listen to this podcast on your online browser. Now, there should be a box that says listen to. When you click on that box, it'll give you a plethora of different places that you can listen to this podcast, all right? Now, for my YouTube people, make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, turn the notification bell, and leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this episode and previous episodes that I have talked about. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let's talk about it, all right? Now, you can follow us on YouTube at Football Junkies Pod. Football Junkies Pod. And remember, we have a link tree in our bio. When you click on that link tree, it'll take you to anywhere and everywhere that we have Football Junkies content, all right? Now, if you're a content creator or a podcaster such as myself, and you're looking for a place to distribute your content, sign up for RSS.com using my affiliate link. When you use that affiliate link, I will receive some compensation. All compensation will go right back into the podcast in the form of new equipment, new information that we can use for future episodes, and anything that can make this podcast better for you guys, all right? Now, you can follow us on Instagram at Football_JunkiesPod. Football_JunkiesPod. JunkiesPod is now what? It is together, not spaced, okay? It is together, not spaced. Football_JunkiesPod. You can follow us on TikTok at FootballJunkiesPod. FootballJunkiesPod. I got some clips. I'm going to post them. Give me some time, all right? You can also follow me on Blue Sky at GMKaile. 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 You can also follow me on Twitter at GMKaile. 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 As always, I hope I gave you guys a fix that you guys need. I love you guys. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for listening to the best football podcast that you can listen to on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis. And as always, this is GMKaile signing out. Peace and love. Later, guys.